my friends. Today I'm going to be sharing with you all one of my childhood favorite meals, and that is Bacalao Guisado. So make sure to stick around and watch. It is so good. I know it sounds like bizarre, but it is honestly one of my favorites, and it has actually become one of my kids' favorites as well. Anytime I tell the kids I'm making verduras with bacalao, or my mom makes verduras with bacalao, my kids run. They love this stuff. The roots mixed with the delicious saltiness and savoriness from the stewed bacalao is the perfect combination. If you've ever been to the supermarket and you've gone down the Goya section or the Hispanic section, you might see like salted pollock, which is not the codfish, or you might see the salted codfish, which is like a fillet of salted fish. Here, for me to buy like the fillet of codfish is like $30. So I opt to use the cheaper version, which is the salted pollock, which is what I'm going to be using today. Just like anything in Puerto Rican cooking, there are so many different ways that you can make bacalao. You can make bacalao guisado, which is what we're going to do today, but you can make bacalao encebollado, and I have shared that in a previous recipe. That one doesn't have that reddish color to it. There is also gazpacho, or they sometimes call it serenata, which is the codfish with avocado and fresh tomatoes and cilantro and that kind of stuff. Is more of a fresh cold dish. It's more like a codfish salad. So everybody has their own different ways of making it. Even when it comes to bacalao guisado, there are so many different ways to make it. Some people like to put their peppers in there, others prefer olives. Some people even go in and put hard-boiled eggs in there. My mom absolutely loves having her bacalao like that. So there's just so many different varieties in the way that people make their bacalao. This is simply my version on how I like to make my bacalao and how my family here at home enjoys it. So I hope you enjoy it as well. Now, let's go ahead and get started. So these are the ingredients that we are going to be using to make our delicious bacalao con verduras today. I am going to be using these salted pollock fillets. Then I also have over here a packet of sazon. I was able to get some recao or culantro. So I'm going to be using about 2 to 3 leaves of that. If you don't have culantro or recao, that's fine. Just use some cilantro instead. I personally like the grape tomatoes because I can just cut them in half, but our store was out of the grape tomatoes, so I got the cherry tomatoes, and I'll just simply be cutting these into quarters. I'll be using 1 onion sliced, some olive oil, a little bit of oregano, a little bit of tomato sauce. I don't have it out here, but I'm also going to be using some sofrito and some peppers. Now for my root vegetables that I will be serving with this, I have some green bananas. These are so yummy. I'm going to be making some green plantains, some yuca, which is the cassava root, and some ñame. All right, so the very first thing I'm going to do here is going to be to wash off the salt from my fish. I'm simply going to go ahead and boil my bacalao for about 15 minutes. In this process, really what's going to happen is that the salt that is left on the fish is going to just release into the water, and it's also going to make it super easy for me to shred this fish. While the bacalao is over there cooking, I'm simply going to be cutting off some of my things that I'm going to be adding in the bacalao, like the onion and the peel. Now, some people don't love the onions. I absolutely love lots of onions in my bacalao. So when I slice it, I just pull them apart. Oh, and it's so good. There are 2 dishes that were my absolute favorite as a kid, and that I just got super excited whenever I heard that's what we were having for dinner, and that is rice with corned beef, which I have a recipe on my channel on that, and bacalao con verduras. Oh my goodness, that was just, It was the bomb. And then I would remember I used to take all my vegetables and I used to smash them all together and make almost like this mass of food. And then I would put my bacalao on it and it just had like the best taste ever. I'm gonna be putting that in there. Tomatoes, I don't add them in until later on. So I'm gonna do this number. I wish my tomatoes in my garden were ready. They're not ready yet. But when they are, whew, I'm gonna be using that to make another bacalao. It's gonna be so yummy. With the plantain, I'm going to go ahead and I'm gonna stick these guys in water so that they don't get, they get black. They kind of get like dark. And then with the bananas, they're easy to peel once, like I did like a little slice down here. And then you can just simply peel it with your fingers like that. It's not very hard at all. Now, a green banana is very different than a regular banana. These do not taste sweet at all. They are just so good. If you've never had, if you've never had bananas, green bananas before, you definitely need to give them a try. You just simply boil them in a little bit of salt water and yum. Now the bacalao is cooked, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of shred it into smaller pieces. I don't want them super small, but small enough. You're gonna see how easy it is now that it's cooked for it to shred up like this. Now I'm simply going to be turning my heat up to a medium and I'm going to cover the bottom with some olive oil. I'm going to say that this is probably about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. To the olive oil, I'm going to add 2 heaping tablespoons of sofrito. And I'm going to let it come up to a little simmer. Now that my sofrito is simmering a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and add the onions in. And I'm going to also add a teaspoon of garlic, a heaping teaspoon of garlic. A little bit of pepper, about 1/4 teaspoon. About 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. Then I'm going to move everything around and just let it get a little sauteed in there. All right, so our vegetables have been sauteing here for about 4 minutes. I'm now going to go ahead and add my bacalao. At this point, I'm also going to add my little packet of sazon and 1/2 of this can of tomato sauce, which equivalates to 4 ounces. About 1/2 cup of it. Now I'm gonna give everything a nice mixing. To incorporate all those yummy flavors. I'm now going to go ahead and add my tomatoes, the cacao. If you want to add a bay leaf in there, you can go ahead and do that too. And about 1/2 cup of water. Once we have all those yummy flavors simmering in there, I'm going to go ahead and put a lid on it. And I'm going to turn the fire down to a medium low. And I'm going to let this simmer in here for about 10 minutes or so, or until the onions get to be the consistency that I like them. So I'm going to start with 10 minutes first. In the meantime, I have my verdura cooking in the pot next door. Right before I started cooking over here, I went ahead and added those in. All right, my friends, it's been about 10 minutes. Let's take a look and see how yummy our bacalao is looking. Oh, look at that, guys. So beautiful. Oh, yes. Yummy. Just perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now it's time to give this delicious bacalao a taste. So good. time to give my delicious verduras con bacalao a try. What can I say? It's good. It's amazing. So many wonderful childhood memories just come flooding into my mind every time I eat this delicious dish. Now it's your turn to give this delicious bacalao a try. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe. Buen provecho. Bye.